All right, so welcome, community. Thank you for joining us. I'm Reverend Lady Mother Sandra Addison Brito, and I'm here at Triumph Life Center, 950 Bergen Street, Newark, New Jersey. And this is our third session in our book study group. And our book that we're studying is The Four Agreements, a practical guide to freedom. And so Jessica, also known as Sunday Rose Gold, is our facilitator. We want to welcome her back. She was traveling and
Y'all just wait.
so we just want to welcome all of our community that's here, those that will be coming in, and let's get started. Jessica, it's on you.
Well, y'all, I'm back in the wilderness. Praise God, I made it. It's cold in the wilderness. Make sure that you carry your layers, and thank God for traveling mercies, because it's a lot of stuff. I had canceled flights. I wound up somewhere a week later than I was supposed to be. Then I was without cell phone service for almost a week because I was in the forest. But it was a good time. It was a really good time. I was at the Four Quarters Sanctuary in Artemis, Pennsylvania for a queer music festival.
Okay.
So it was off the grid. It was really fun. And there's gonna be a lot of really cool footage that I took, so everyone get into that. But this week, I wanted to share the title for today's, lesson or class. Because I started thinking through like the syllabus and like what we'll do each week and so on and so forth. And so this week, we're gonna talk about what be impeccable with your word is according to what is in the text. So we're gonna be like referencing a lot of text or page numbers, and people have the opportunity to like talk about what it is that they think or feel about that text. And if you have, and I said this last time, if you have like some text or some recommendations or quotes or passages in the book that are within that chapter, we can definitely discuss those as well. So the title for this book, and it's gonna lead us into our icebreaker, and after we do our icebreaker, we'll get into the ooey gooeys of this wonderful book here. So the title of this is My Word is My Bond. That's what I'm calling it. So when you hear that, I want you to think about one song that comes to mind when you hear My Word is My Bond, or like a song, a vibe, maybe fashion, I don't know, whatever comes to your mind when you hear My Word is My Bond, or if it's a memory, whatever it is. So take some time, you maybe you trying to filter through, or you never know. Maybe you just listen to a song that was giving you like, nothing but maybe that's what it was. But whatever it is for you, I want you to think about it. And then we can go around and talk about it. And after we do that, we'll get into, the text and stuff. So what y'all think when you hear that?
My word is my bond.
Yeah, when you hear my
I
word
just
is
got,
my bond.
I just walked there in the middle of the conversation. Sorry,
No, it's okay. I mean, like, what does it mean to you when you hear my word is my bond?
what it means me, I'm telling the truth.
Period.
Period. Like, straight like that. Like I'm telling the truth. Like my word, that's all I got is my word.
Right.
Like I'm telling you the truth. That's what I mean by that. How you doing, James?
Yeah.
That's what I mean by me.
Yeah. What
Like
about
my
you?
word is my bond. Like I'm telling you the truth.
Or what about you?
Well, when I heard my word is my bond, I always think in terms of integrity of the person. If you're gonna do something, you gotta do it, okay? You don't say something you're not gonna do.
Period. Period. We don't like fake people around here. I think the same thing because, when someone tell you one thing and they do another thing, right? People like, baby, why you do that? You wanna take care? My room ain't bad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Miss James.
And this way, one thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
she comes away.
You remember, Jamie, Sister Jamie, remember, speak a little louder because we have.
Oh, I apologize.
So they can hear.
I'm just saying, my roommate bad.
I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Jamie. I'm so sorry to hear that. How old was she? What was her name? 59? Oh my God, she died in her sleep. I'm so sorry to hear that.
I was at
Oh, you was that program, you wasn't in the room, what? Oh, she had her own one. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, y'all was close. Ready.
Yeah.
I'm so,
That's the third death house, how we do.
for real, this whole week? Wow.
When you live in, so you live your life, please, you live your life to the fullest.
Oh,
Everybody else
wow.
is dying around you.
Hey,
You
one
live
day,
your life- live your life to the fullest.
Wow, 3 people
In 1 week.
in 1 week.
Okay.
Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that, Miss Jane.
Wow.
May peace be upon them. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, speak like progression to their spirits. And like,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? The people who wait for them on the other side or, you know, is over there. According to my tradition, it takes 9 days for, an answer to make it from this round to the next. So they, you know, that's why I'm praying for their peace, life, progression, so that as the days pass, I'm praying that, you know, people will receive that soul for those souls, so that they're able to, you know, live their best life over there.
Well, I'm gonna move now.
Hey, Jane, what program you in?
I'm not gonna hold on.
What program you in? Right, what
I go
program
to,
you in?
I go to Outpatient.
Outpatient program?
835.
What's the name of it?
Ethics care about, Fuller Mills,
Ethics Care?
Fuller Mills.
And Orange? Oh,
Wendy,
oh, wow.
right in the back of Wendy, I go there every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And I work in there too, but I don't mean, but, you know, cleaning and all that.
Yeah,
I'm good. Keep my mind occupied.
right, that's good.
As long as I ain't running the streets.
Be careful, Miss Jamie, okay? And take care of
I'm ready to
yourself.
move now, I'm scared.
I know, they ain't got no woman houses down there, sober living houses,
Mhm.
that
My
program?
niece work with the state, she's trying to give me an apartment.
Oh, okay,
Well, I'm praying for that.
yeah, for that, for you in that program. I'm praying for you in that program, Miss Jamie.
I couldn't name a big house last night.
Good.
So that's something in the morning, I got dressed and stuff, with my van.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
Wow,
Yeah, 3 people in 1 week, that is scary.
That is terrifying.
Yeah,
I wanna move
you
too.
too. Right,
I wanna raise hell in them.
go fast, be out here.
Question, what's going on
3
here?
people in 1 week, and I'm starting to.
The numbers aren't numbering. The data is not data. Like, something is afoot. Something's not right.
Right,
But yeah, for sure, pray, for sure. And thank you for sharing. Because
yeah,
definitely gonna lift that up and lift them out and lift you up for sure.
I ain't scared of nobody.
no,
Well,
as long as you're right, Miss Jamie, I'm glad you said that.
yeah,
Be careful, okay, Miss Jamie? I'm praying for you in that program. Take care of yourself.
facts. And listen, people need to, this even connects to the, you know, do what you say you're gonna do.
Right.
Like, if you're gonna take care of me, take care of me. If you are gonna be there, be there.
Right.
If you're going to do that, do that.
Right.
So any other thoughts about what it means or what it feels like, or what comes to you when you hear my word is my bond, or like, for me, I'm not gonna hold you. Honesty, I think this is because of hip hop and music videos, but I see like jail bars and like, I hear 50 things. Like, that's what comes to me when I hear my word is my bond. And I see Jamaica Queen, but that's just like, that's where I grew up, that's like, that was like a code in the street, you know what I'm saying? Like, people said that, people said like, my word is my bond, like, people would shake each other's hands and say, my word is my bond. I've even heard my mother say that to a couple of people. So like, I've heard the phrase used as like a thing, so I was super happy to hear about what that meant or what that felt like to y'all, because I thought it was really dope. And one of the songs that came to my mind was actually by Jadakiss. I'm gonna share it with y'all, but it was like the perfect song. It just talked about like, we don't like fake people over here, we real people over here, you know what I mean? So it really gave me like, and I was like, this is giving me what you get. So we're going through our second chapter, which is the first agreement, right? And so I love to start with this sentence that says the first agreement is the most important one. I love when I get emphasis on something. You ever ask for some confirmation? You said, let me see a pink flower. And you saw a pink flower and said, thank you, God. Right? That's wrong. Oh, we are on the 25th page. So they're already letting you know, like, this is your most important agreement. Like, you get this one down, the other 3 is gonna be cake for you.
Right.
Right? So I love that off the bat. But They tell us in the second paragraph that the first agreement is to be impeccable with your work.
Right.
It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Right? So they say that your word is the power that you have to create. What kinds of things have y'all created with your words? Whether it be good, whether it be bad, whether it be indifferent. We just talking about what we made with the things that we did.
Well, for me professionally, when I go to a place that I want to work, I always pray that I have good people in the state of, in the sense of good spirit, and also to feel empowered, but not to the point that, well, I'm an alpha female, I don't know. You know, it's kind of hard, you know.
I hear you for sure. I think I've done something similar where like if I'm by places that I want to work at, or I'm with people I want to work with, I say that I want to work with them or that I'm working with them while I'm with them. And so that gives me the opportunity to create the space
Right.
so that I can show up in the space. Even if that space isn't right then,
Right.
I believe that that space is gonna happen. And for me, one of those experiences was it was like 2019, it was January. And I just had a feeling like that I had a dream that I was on stage with Liz. I just had a dream. I just saw it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I didn't know where it was. I didn't know nothing.
Right.
But I saw it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And people told me I was crazy. People at my job was like, you're not gonna do that. That's crazy. That isn't fine. And I was like, okay, babe, that's fine. You can believe what you want. I'm
Right.
gonna do it. And so I went through all these auditions, did all these things. I got closer and closer and closer and closer. Not gonna hold you, once I got to shake my booty on Lizzo on national TV, I said, I did it. Like in my head, I was like, I did the thing. I was like, I won. But when I did finally audition for the VMAs and I got the spot, what they told me was like, you got the spot because of your energy. Now it's like, that's
Not
your
because
energy,
you're.
right? Like you're like,
So whatever, yeah. whatever
Right.
you give out.
you're giving the vibe, right? So you're about it. You know what I mean? Like, you really live in this stuff that we talking. So we need you here. So that's something that I created with my word. That was really dope. And it just really, it empowered me for sure. So I was like, oh, wow, like,
Affirmation of whatever you put out.
right,
Got it.
exactly. It's manifestation. Yeah, manifestation, like using our words to manifest, even if it's a parking. You ever ask for a parking space and a parking space showed up? Like, you just say, God, listen, I need a parking space on this block, please God, and then you go down a block and then a parking space. Or, oh God, I'm trying to go into the Dunkin' Donuts in the line, please don't let the line be long. Please don't let the line be long, or let someone let me come. Like, let me just walk up in. Exactly. That's another thing too, like, sometimes we say things and it takes us a long time to get to the thing that we say. And so like, what does it look like to like wait for what you said was gonna happen? Or what does it look to wait now for the things you say? You know what I mean? Because sometimes like, we'll sit there and we'll be waiting for something, but like, we'll be braggy about it. Like, we'll be like, I want this now.
And then sometimes when the now time happens, it's not your time. That's the
Right,
problem,
exactly.
you know, so that's what you gotta be careful for.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
your time, it's not always God's time or whatever manifestation of what it's supposed to be,
Mm-hmm,
you know, and
Mhm.
sometimes that can mess you up really bad. Yeah.
for sure.
You know.
Yeah,
And then you be trying to figure out, well, how did I get in this position? Well, you created the position, you wanted to do it, you know?
Mhm.
And so well, you know.
Right, how'd I get here?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course, well,
yeah,
you
yeah.
said, what you
Yeah,
said,
Right, exactly.
right? So be in circles, which
Right,
is work,
right.
right? Stick to what you
Yeah,
said,
right, right.
this is what you said you wanted,
And now
And now you
you
got
got it, and now you don't want it, okay?
then it's like, I guess you didn't know what you said. I guess you
I
didn't.
don't think it's that they don't know what they say, it's just that because it come not at your time. It didn't come at your time, that is the problem we have.
Mhm,
You're too busy for something that you're not ready for.
mhm.
God works differently.
Mhm.
You ask for it, he give it to you. You don't have to be on your time. That's the problem we have.
For sure, I agree with that. I agree with that.
With your intention.
Mhm. Yeah,
Heavy.
yeah,
If
for
you think
sure.
about it, if you go through life journey, to look at where, you know, where of your life, where you would have been, or could have been, or did, and then you can say, you know, well, hey, I did it, but was it for me at that time?
I
You know?
don't
And
know
creating a
what.
relationship. Tell, I see young women, you know, oh, brother's fine, he got this and that, and then they come find out he's not what you want. And then you had 2 kids from him, and then you're talking about, well, he's no good and this, that. I hear that all the time at my job, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it took 2 kids before you determined that he wasn't no good.
Listen,
Oh, I'm like.
listen.
And all those blonde.
Listen, look, people, I'm not gonna hold you, the women in my family had babies at early ages. Like, I think my mom had my sister when she was 18, and my sister had her baby when she was 18. No lie, I said to myself, if I can make it past 18, I succeed. Like, okay, like, if I don't get pregnant until after that time, I have succeeded in life. I don't need to do nothing else. Forget being on the phone, forget none of that. I have no kids. But I think there's like a phenomenon that happens when you're like a younger parent. There's a kind of learning that happens that definitely you won't experience if you have that baby when you're like in your 30s,
Right.
right? And depending on people's situations, sometimes it always works the way it needs to, but like it doesn't mean it's easy. I know that when my mom raised me, like I know that was really difficult for her. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
2 girls or she had.
She had my sister first,
Okay,
but my mom was also on drugs.
okay.
So she had my sister first, and then she had me, but she had me when she was in the 30s. She had my sister when she was 18.
Wow, so she wasn't quite as good.
Yeah, there's 18 years between me and things.
Wow,
Wow.
Yeah, so we're in like 2 different generations.
right. It's like being single children.
Yeah, so yeah, like I was raised like an only child, and my sister was pretty much raised like an only child.
Right,
With like not completely different environments, but like I would say completely different people because like, you know, my grandparents, our grandparents passed away when I was growing up.
okay.
She had my grandparents.
Right.
She
His
experienced,
parents, grandma and
Right.
pop.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, it really takes a village. And I think like the big thing when it comes to like figuring out like, you want some watermelon? When it comes to figuring out if something is for you, it really is about thinking like, like, how is this? No. It's really like, how is this gonna manifest for me? You know what I mean? It's really about thinking like, okay, like, how do I want to feel? Right? I believe that we attract the thing the way we want to feel.
Law of attraction.
Right, I believe in that. Like, I believe that, not that you want to feel happy and you're gonna feel sad. Sadness is a feeling, right? Like, you're gonna feel sad, you're gonna cry sometimes, it's gonna be like that.
Right.
But I do believe that if you believe a thing, it comes. And as I was in the forest, for the last week, which I was so grateful for, I was talking to a Native American, and they were telling me about in their culture, in their tribe, how it's really important to be impeccable, and how you need to only say what is true
Right.
and not say what is not true,
Wow.
because you have the ability to make the untrue true, because you can create, right? And that was told to me under the stars in the forest,
Wow.
right? So it connects for sure to what
we're doing.
what it is that we're saying.
Right.
So it's like, they also tell us on page 27, your word is pure magic, and the misuse of your word is black
Magic, yeah.
I thought that to be really interesting, to start talking about magic. And I
Right.
think there's been references to it, like in, the book. But I wonder, like, what you all
Yeah.
think or feel.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was saying to myself, like, you have, well, in Yorubas, the Africans and stuff like that, they believe in, spirits and stuff like that, bringing back spirits or whatever, And I said to myself that, can you manifest a word and actually create an environment where you're around people that are negative all the time?
It didn't happen.
I'm just asking that question. Can you what? Can you manifest in your words that you're saying, oh, people aren't this and, or I heard I hate black people, this, that, and I'm saying. So do you manifest that and then you create that environment because you put it out in your words? So then now you have these people who exactly around you who aren't any good for you, and subsequently,
I would say it happened many times, just that people don't pay attention when it happens.
When you put it out there,
When you put it out there, is when you don't pay attention when it's happening, because it's not when you see it actually happening.
it could
It
manifest
takes some
itself
time, of
back
course.
later
of course.
on.
It's going to- It's really going to happen.
So is that black magic? And I quote the word black magic and white magic.
But
I kind of bias. I was like, what the hell? Excuse me. You know, what's white, you know, what are you talking about?
You better talk, you better tell the
You
truth.
know, right, I'm talking about black magic, you know, which is something evil, and white magic is supposed to be something good. I think that's very biased, you know, which, I mean, white is good and black is good. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. I think that if we think about the historical context as well of like black magic and white magic,
yeah,
like I know in my, again, I practice in African-based traditions. So like black magic is a real thing. And like I've experienced black magic in my life. So for me, I call it roots, you know, when someone's trying to put roots on you, or
right.
you know, someone go to somebody and be like, go put that person under. It's real. That stuff you work in. It almost got me. But I made it.
You have to believe it first.
You
And
know,
now, and it's just a belief now, if somebody say they're gonna put roots on you and you don't, that's not in I start praying, I was like, you know, the devil's a liar, you know, go to the pit of hell or whatever. And I don't accept that, you know, because I've had people say something, you know, negative, oh, you know, I'm gonna put this on you, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna pray for you, because I'm not going that way, you know, I'm not gonna manifest whatever you say to me, put it in my life and believe what you're saying, because I just don't believe it.
but you
Okay.
know, I didn't know that she did it. I ain't got no word. I just almost fell down the stairs 3 times. And I was like, wait. I was going down the stairs I go down every day. And I almost died. I was like, wait a second. I was like, what's going on?
Did you know that that's what she said?
No, I didn't. I had no idea what she said. I actually just called my godmother and I was like, I'm feeling a little weird. And she was like, come see me. And I was like, all right. So I
Okay.
went to go see her and she was like, you hot. She was like, what they don't know is that I'm also a Haitian witch doctor. So I'm about to reverse. So she went on ahead and did what she had to do. I continued doing what I had to do. It was also in the midst of like, I was in the midst of like a court case. So it was like an effort to like have me not show up for or continue my case, which I understand it makes sense. If you had a felony against you, are you trying to go to court?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Okay.
even though it was bullshit, like I understand why it got happened. I understand why it happened, but for me, black magic is real, and I think it's again about your intention. It's really about what you intend with the word, right? If because the Bible talks a lot about gossip, like how you know
Yeah,
when you
they
gossip.
said, yeah, that's nothing but, actually, it's just the same thing as negative or black magic or whatever you want to call it. For people just talk about other people or put them in a situation, and saying, you know, they're no good or whatever, nothing of good intention, you know.
Yeah,
And I understand that, but on the same token, I think if your mindset is at a higher level, you know what I'm saying? So what you say to me, unless I receive it, it doesn't mean anything to me. I think I think that once people say something to you, and then you take their word and internalize it and believe what they say, then that's when they have the control over you. Right, you know, and I see it on my job all the time among Caucasian people, where they'll, you know, try to manipulate other people, as, you know, minorities or something like that, or say something like, oh, that person's no good. And then if the person began to believe that they're no good, and then they actually manifest whatever they say and believe it. And then I'll go around and say, maybe your talent's not here, but it could be there. So why don't you work on whatever you look good at, that you're positive at, and then let that go? Because when you start believing what people say, then that, you know, that puts you in the realm of depression, you know, or low self-esteem, and other things can happen to you. You know, you have a lot of these girls, the reason they
don't feel that they were ever loved, so they go out trying to find a man to love them. The wrong man, and have all these children or whatever the case is, trying to find love.
I'm crying. I feel you.
You gotta know, Sister Julie, to understand.
I don't know.
We don't have no
I feel-
skills, they will come to mind.
I don't even know, but I feel it. You know what I mean? I'm like, where? Like, I think about how she feels.
No filter, and I
But
I was trying to think about that. You know what? It was so funny because I was thinking word is I'm saying to myself, boy, I speak the truth. I don't know, and I don't know if it's truly opinionated, but sometimes, but I said, what I put out there, I think my intention is not to be malicious, not to be malicious. So,
You know, this, I'm glad with, okay, so this is the question I have.
mhm.
You know, the idea of like intention versus impact. Right? Like we can intend well and impact unwell, right? So in those instances, how do you
How do you deal?
deal with that? Like, what does it look like to still be integral when you have like your integrity or keeping your word, whatever that looks like, has actually harmed or even harm that person, even though that was there? Like, how do you handle?
That's what I said. I have two daughter-in-laws. I'm apologizing all the time. Trust me. That's what I say. I'm like, because my husband said, my son, Mom, why'd you tell her that? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Did it offend her? Then I have to go back, rethink, like, how would I receive it if it came from my mother-in-law, So I was like, okay, that's it. My intention was not to be malicious, but if I offended you, I'm sorry. He said, oh, okay, now we're good. I'm like,
Well, see, you apologize, that's what, you gotta take accountability for what you do and then move on from there. Some people, will say, and just act like they never had said what they said. Like,
right.
you be like, you hurt my feelings when you said da 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 da, and they be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
They always say, ain't what you say, it's how you say it.
That's what my mama said.
I think too, I think Julie's case, what I'm hearing is, just speaking what you see, really from a place of.
Mother.
Mother, I want to do good, and then just, well, okay, maybe not what you say, but how you say it.
Right.
Then I think there are those that slip into that space of doing, trying to be manipulative.
And I pick it up like this.
Yeah.
I pick it up like this.
Yeah, they're saying, well, I intended good, but they're right trying to control you.
Right.
Yeah, so their intention is not from a pure place.
Right, exactly.
It's
I'm
from a
gonna,
place of trying to
well, you just take your
manipulate the
grandchild for a month or two, so this way you can bond. I'm working, so what are you talking about?
Mhm.
You could take my grandchild for a month. Well, I'm 68 years old. What do you do with a 5, 6-year-old?
I mean, that's an accurate question.
What you say?
That's a good question.
What you say?
What I'm gonna do with a 5, 6-year-old?
Yeah, I'm 68 years old. Oh, you take your grandchild for the summer, so this way, you can bond. So I'm like, and I said to my husband, he said, be careful what you say, because if you say it the wrong way,
That's true.
your son is gonna be calling you about, what are you saying to my wife, and she's hurt. And I'm like, I'll think about it. And then I said to myself, gotta get off the phone. What the hell is she thinking about? 5-year-old.
Have you,
Like, what are you doing with a
have you
5-year-old?
expressed, have you let them know this is not gonna happen?
Well, no, so I called my daughter, Miranda, who was a passive aggressive. So she said, Mom, I'll take care of it. I said, oh. So she called her and she said, listen, my mom's 68 years old. She said, my daughter's 8 years old. She said, why don't I send my daughter down there to play with your daughter, that's 5-year-old? This way, we both can bond.
Yes, yes.
So that ended that, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure did. She said, oh.
You see it one way, seeing it the other way.
But most understand, be manipulative.
Yeah, I think what the agreement is saying here with that we have to be truthful with our words, that they're coming from this place that's not trying to be. That's not trying, it's a different, we all know some folks who are like 2-year-olds, they just say what they see. They're not trying to be anything except that, that's just how they are. Then we know other people who can be very sweet with their words, but they're manipulative.
Sure.
They're not being truthful because it's not coming from a place of truth and integrity.
And that was your daughter? You said I wanted you to take her daughter with you for the
No, it's my, I said, I'm learning my daughter-in-laws, because, yeah, because I said I raised my kids a certain way, but when they have outsiders, you don't know, where they're coming from. And then as I learned more, I realized that my daughter-in-law, like they were, her mother had her in foster care. She had kids who were very young. So she, have that other experience. And so my son on the same hand, he's like, well, I'm not raising me and be my, whatever. So even though I did whatever I wanted to do in the street, but my mother was always there. So it's different, a different dynamic. So when I say something to her, it's like she's saying, well, like, she's feeling that I'm not as nurturing to her as I would be to my son.
You can't be that. That's not your job.
But when they become family, you're supposed to treat them the same as if they were your child. That's what I'm.
You can't love him the way you love him, and you can't love her the way she loves him.
Well, I'm gonna put you on the phone next time.
Yeah, you can just volunteer your services. Go ahead with there. Let me know how it works. Literally, a lot of the things that everyone has said here is directly from this book. I'm just gonna go through a couple of those things. We've literally already said them.
Yeah.
We have spells with our opinions.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, as long as you agree to others' opinions of you, you will not be free. That's something else that's in this chapter.
Yep.
I thought this was really interesting. A sin is anything you do that goes against yourself.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
I highlighted that. That was really, yeah.
Sin is
Anything
anything you
It's true that
that
goes
goes
against the
against
will of
yourself.
yourself.
So like, you know how the Bible talks about, like, you have the 7 commandments, or
Right.
the original sin being, right? So like, this book has this kind of, this person is saying a sin is anything that like is violating you.
Right.
Whether that is, you thirsty, this is very simple, but you thirsty, you don't drink no water, you tell yourself you won't have some water. That's the thing, go have some water. Hey, because that goes against your well-being. So the question that came to mind was, because we talked a lot about in the last couple of weeks about like what agreements we've made. And this book talks about how the only way to end an agreement is to make another agreement.
Right.
So the question I had was, what agreements do you reinforce or know that you have that put you in bondage? Like, are there any agreements that you've made with things that maybe you believe, or maybe like you just, sometimes people think that it won't get better, like life won't get better, or sometimes we think, and that's an agreement that, right? Sometimes we think, I'm never gonna lose that 10 pounds, right? Like, that's never gonna happen. That's another agreement, right? So like, you can share if you'd like, or you can just bring it to mind, but I thought, or is there anything that you've done that goes against yourself? Or something that you do regularly that goes against yourself? Even if I feel like I should be getting up earlier in the morning and I don't, right? Or
I should stop snoozing the alarm.
yeah,
Ah.
I feel it's like, if I've made an agreement that I'm just gonna keep,
I should
I'm
stop
doing that
smoking
too.
cigarettes.
Listen,
Me too.
For real.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Cause it's like when we agree to a thing, whether it's good or bad, like that thing agrees with us, right? Like the thing is following our suit.
Let me ask you, is that the same as tradition? You follow tradition,
Yeah, for
Because-
sure.
You've been embedded in a certain tradition. to do
Exactly.
This, that, and the other,
Mhm.
and therefore, you believe whatever it is that the tradition says, just the fact that you guys are here with, your belly out and pants and stuff like that.
I-
We had
Open chairs
in
up.
the church,
Come on.
I don't follow tradition. I don't follow tradition. When I have my daughter, I'm in my own position.
I'm just
I'm
telling
a
you,
big,
it is so amazing how free we are now compared to what the tradition of this church was for years. Women had to
Hey,
be
guys.
covered from head to toe,
What's up?
no stockings, right, no full.
Hey, did y'all have to cover y'all heads? Is that a part of it?
We had to cover our head, yeah, cover our heads, no bare legs,
So you had to wear stockings.
right, stockings. Had to be cuffed up to, no, the boots, I mean, no, that was definitely out, yeah.
I'm never, a pair of stockings, you know how hard it is to put on a pair of stockings? You got
I used to rip my stockings, so my mother could buy me knee-highs.
Never.
phobic. Fat phobic. It's fat phobic for a church to say you can't have bare legs when someone who has a larger body is literally uncomfortable putting on tights.
I don't like stockings. I like fishnet stockings though.
See, that's different. You got more faith than those, but God forbid you walk into church with something that stockings. Like,
But I think some of it was in the agreements that we made, in accepting tradition
yeah.
And that's
for sure.
your thing.
without questioning it.
Right,
We accepted what was handed to us without
That's
challenging it.
and that's what this book is basically
Yeah.
saying.
fair, yeah.
Hey,
Good, that.
we indoctrinate ourselves, put ourselves in bondage because people have told us for years,
To eat and what to drink, what to wear and all that other
Not
stuff.
only that, you wanna be with the
Right.
about with you.
That was growing up with your
Your
parents, but when your parents and
Right,
your aunts and
normal.
uncles and the people in the community that raised you, whatever, but when you have your but when you have your own family,
I got another.
family, and you have your own children, you bringing up your own children, you're gonna bring up a funny how you put your stuff to them.
You know
But
what?
also embrace it with your mother and father and bring and taught you too. You wanna bring up them good books with your children too. But in the meantime, you grow up, you raise your children how you want to be raised. You know what I mean? You raise your children how you wanna raise your child. But also in that with your parents, with your mother and father taught you. Always put that in their mind. That's how I raised my daughter. Oh no. And my daughter graduated from high school and she's right now in college. I think I did a good job. Besides all the drugs and stuff I do. Besides, I had a good strong mother and father in the household. Now my parents raised me to good, but I always went that other direction. I mean, like I always went that different route. You know what I mean? Even though my mother and father taught me to do good, I always wanted to figure out things on my own. I wanted to test the waters and it was good and it was bad and it was ugly. But you know what? I deal with my consequences and I'm God blessed by the grace of God and Allah here go I. And I don't judge nobody. And to each his own.
I hear that.
By the
So
grace
you
of God,
always-
go I.
Experience what you wanted to do, you had to do it.
You live and you learn.
Right, okay. No matter what your tradition was or what your parents said,
Yeah,
whatever.
and still, I embedded my position with my mother and father taught me, I still embedded in my daughter, you know what I mean? And I try to teach her that way, but I know she's gonna make her own way. You know
Make
what I
our
mean?
own decision.
Or make her own decision, because I know I'm 41 years old, and my mother and father raised me to the best of their ability, but I still made some wrong decisions in my life, and I'm still to this day making wrong decisions, and I'm still learning. And you know what I mean? And I tell my daughter every day, you don't got to know drugs, I'm already going on out here for you. Go get that education, and go to school, and get a career. You
Yeah.
ain't gotta do nothing, I ain't gonna tell you nothing in the wrong way, cause honey, look, you was living proof for me, you 20 years old. I ain't still know, we done been homeless, lost our apartments, in the struggle, you already know, you had to go over to your father, I had to go to this program, that program, you already know. You already seen me, so therefore, ain't no need for you to go out there and do nothing. Can't nobody tell you what to, cause you already see I'm your mother. And if you got feeling, we all behind you 100%. You already seen what is out there, and you already seen it to this day. So you already know what it is. That's how it is.
I feel that. I definitely learned that from my mama.
Yeah.
My mom was out there in the streets. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that.
Right, exactly,
I'm not gonna do that.
exactly.
Right? But I
Right.
definitely did depart from the tradition, right? I grew up Christian. Grew up in a church, like that's
Me
the
too,
giving. And like
yeah.
as I grew up and got older, I definitely honor the tradition. I honor everything that I learned from the spiritual tradition and like even my service, I served in the church for years.
Mhm.
I was the Sunday school teacher. I put together all the, like, I was the administrator for the entire youth ministry. I put together lesson plans, I put together job descriptions, I took footage from like media events, like I was in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right,
like, I honored the experience that I got from there, and I also know
Right.
that I was just in a search of like what feels the most authentic to me, which is
Mhm.
like understanding I've made certain agreements, right?
Right,
And like, how am I, like, what do I want now?
right.
What feels authentic to me and who I am,
Mhm.
and like how I live my life, because the way I'm living is not how my mother's living, right?
Right,
My mom just doesn't, she thinks a lot of things about me that are not true, right? And she said a lot of things to me that are not true. Things that I agreed to that became true because I agreed to them, right? But I didn't know any better because I was young, and that's my mother, so I'm gonna believe what my mother said. But as I got older and I started to learn about critical thinking, which is another thing, another reason I left the church was because I was like, don't nobody ask no questions. I was like, why nobody got no questions? I was in church with a notebook and a pen. And I was like, can I talk to somebody afterwards? I got some questions. But nobody wanted to answer the question. And I found that to be interesting because I'm like, well, if I'm just looking to explore, right? If I'm just curious, I'm not doing this to like make you look bad. You know how people pick a fight with you because they want you to look stupid? That's not what I was doing. Like, I just wanted to be able to get some more answers. And likely they didn't have them. But instead of saying we don't have them, they just told me I can't ask no questions. And that wasn't sitting right with me as a person who thinks a lot, right? Like, I'm not gonna agree to this anymore. And not agreeing to like the kind of spiritual tradition that I grew up with was really hard, right? It was really hard for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna depart from this tradition. I'm gonna stop going to church. I'm not gonna be taking communion over, like, that was hard. It was hard to leave that. And even though it was difficult to do, it was the right thing for me to do. Certain people, like people who mentioned me in church will probably think that was a bad idea. There are people who literally don't mess with me to this day, who I work side by side with, who don't talk to me because of like the ways in which I lead my life, or like, you know, how I'm doing what I want to do. And so it's like, but at the end of the day, God's still with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, God still uses me. Just because somebody feels a certain type of way or thinks or has an opinion that
Right.
is different, like, it doesn't mean that I agree to that. That doesn't mean that that's gonna be my life. But it takes a lot of like stick-to-itiveness. It takes a lot of, you know, tenacity. It takes a lot of strength to be able to be like, hey, I'm making this agreement now, right? I'm gonna do this as opposed to like what I was taught to do. And it's really, really, really cool that this chapter talks about when you believe what someone thinks about you, you agree, and it becomes a part of your belief system, which can stop you from being who you are. I wish I could. These ones,
Chapter 2, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Being
Yeah.
comfortable with your word.
Start on page,
we're starting at the first page, and
the
I
first reading,
am,
we're on page, let me see.
that's
Start on
at
page 25, so we're somewhere after that.
yes. Oh, there we go. Okay. I listened to the Audible book and then I went through like the text. I have like quotes and some page numbers. Yum, yum, yum.
And have some more pizza coming to those that came. So it's the first time we ran out, so I'm really happy. Good group.
Sorry.
Oh, this is really good. Page 43. The impeccability of the word will also give you immunity from anyone putting a negative spell on you.
Wow.
You will only receive a negative idea if your mind is fertile ground for that idea.
That's what I was telling you about. You can't believe everything people say to you and take it in. You know, unless you take it in, then you believe it. So if I don't believe it, like what you were saying, like the root thing,
Mhm.
I mean, you said that it's black magic or whatever happened to you, but I don't perceive that. So if you told me, oh, I'm gonna throw a root on you and I'm looking at you, I'm like, I'm afraid for you to, I keep it moving, so because I don't believe in it, you know?
Right.
And that's me, you know, and,
Right.
I tell you though, one thing I could tell you though, that, the movie, that damn Exorcist, I didn't sleep a week after that.
About how I don't watch it.
I love scary movies.
It came from someone's imagination and in someone's brain. They put words to a paper, it's real. I don't want no part of that in my house, on my computer screen, or in my head.
That elevation, that elevation, and she's spitting that vomit out like, oh.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
I was the whole week tour, but I'm like, what's wrong with you? I said, keep the closet closed. I was like, oh, it was too much. I was like, I'll never watch that. I never, to this day, I don't watch scary movies. I love scary movies. I love scary movies. Freddy Krueger, Dave,
Like all the movies.
Chucky, and that damn thing.
Yeah, I like Chucky.
I love it. So let me ask you a question, so you can watch those movies and go to sleep and no.
So you're gonna go to sleep, go into another realm after you don't watch this crazy movie and think that you finna make it out alive. Did any black person in that movie make it out alive? Why would you watch that and then go to sleep? That's crazy to me.
That's what I'm asking them, how they.
I can't do it.
It doesn't
not
bother
do
them. Bad.
You probably get a fight. That's
Scary
different. You
movie. No,
You
coming up.
probably go bye bye bye.
I'll say, coming up in our environment, you've seen a lot of crazy stuff growing up, so scary movies really don't.
I told you,
bother.
you're serious.
Call me what you want. I'm not watching.
So you're like,
I'm
you
scary
saying-
movies.
are you seeing in the street?
I'm the first one
War
sleeping in
fest
the-
in the
You don't think you're in the spooky movie walking around? This is a spooky movie.
Thank you.
This is what I'm scared of now. I'm scared of movies. I'm scared of movies. This is more of a movie. I'm scared of- That's just something I can say, see a scary movie, I can wake up and say, look, I don't gotta watch this no more, but on the street, I'm gonna come out to it every day. So I worry about that movie more than I am the scary movie.
That logic makes sense.
I can relate now.
I see a movie every day, just on the news. That's it.
That part,
That's
right. In the reality.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Even being here, and where I live is more quiet.
Right,
That's
right,
why.
right.
Here, the sirens is coming. I first started coming
The ambulance, the siren, the fire.
Yeah, calm down.
One of them nights when you are here.
You sleep.
But this is what he's saying. He's saying that this is my reality, so therefore, that nightmare is what I live constantly, so you become immune to it. So seeing Chucky ain't nothing. Right. Or seeing whatever.
The movie is fake, and you know, at least it's fake, you know, you're gonna walk away with it, like, see how it is? You're walking away with it.
That's a fact.
That's
Right.
the difference. So I'm
Right.
more worried about this movie than I'm
Right.
with the movie on TV. 'Cause I can walk away from this movie on TV and tell
I
myself,
started
I'm
chatting.
not watching this movie.
Yeah,
But when you come outside, you can't tell people that.
Yeah,
You gotta watch people every day.
right.
Say hi to somebody and stick that person in, turn your back, that person have a screwdriver or anything, say right in his back. So I'm more worried about the people out there. So that's how I look at certain. Look at it.
I think that's so important, Carrie, because I'm like, with the green.
You be hungry that.
Different name.
Yeah.
Like, who are you talking to? Jessica was saying about your reality in church and how following tradition and the people really couldn't answer your questions or relate to you because they're locked into a movie. Right? They're locked into a movie. And they're missing that Jessica and some of the younger folks are living in another reality. And they can't relate to it.
But this brother, I'm just.
Yeah.
I would like to write a book about him. Shoot.
It's meant-
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Sometimes people can have a mask on too, you be scared to take their mask. off.
but that's also what
People
the
got
book
that
says.
mask on, they scared to take it off, they scared to
But
expose
that's what we
themselves.
time.
So when you expose yourself, I know you might get the help that you need.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a mask everybody got on.
Yeah.
Like you can walk outside, somebody say, I'm this, that, and the bird, and not really not. That's because they got a mask, because they've been through something in their life, they probably been hurt or. So that's why, I don't judge nobody. I don't judge my enemy, I don't judge nobody. I give people the benefit of the doubt, to come to me and explain what they're doing. That's how I look at a lot of stuff now. Before I was always in a go mode, but now I give people benefit of the doubt now.
And that's because you developed that,
Yeah,
that's at the.
I know where I came from, and I don't want to go back.
So is that your life experience? That's why you now give everybody a benefit of a doubt
Yeah,
rather than judge them?
yeah, I don't judge nobody. It don't matter what you've been doing in your life, or what you're doing. Nobody ain't better than nobody.
Right.
Well, I give you benefit of the doubt. There's a limit,
That's maturity.
but I give them benefit of the doubt.
You okay? That's maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's maturity. That's
You know,
called manhood.
Take that mask off,
Right.
you'll be at peace. I wasn't at peace with myself, but I had a mask. I kept on like, oh, I ain't nothing bothering me, ain't nothing bothering. I done did 8 programs.
Because
8. I
Because-
graduated 5 programs. With high rank and everything from these programs, no missing days, perfect attendance, I shared, I had people coming out. I done brought recovering addicts to my program, I done saved people lives from the streets onto the program. I done did it,
but that was the math.
but that was math I had to take off. Yeah, like my math, I was like, I had like, I ain't gonna
Did you,
hear.
wait a minute, so the mask that you had on, in
Mhm.
order for you to achieve this program, was something that you had to do, but it wasn't you?
I had to take that mask off, tell myself I had to do something different.
Word.
I can't keep doing the same thing.
Word, I feel that.
Can't keep that mask on all the time. Eventually, it's gonna get me there. I got a son, I got a mother, so I gotta take that mask off. Look, this is what I'm really about. Let me get my stuff together with it. God gave me too many chances. I've been locked up 11 times. Got stabbed up 5 times in my head. I got hit off the bike. Hit in the head with golf clubs, a lot of stuff still is. So you think I'm not gonna take that last lesson that he gave me, change my life? Now I'm doing it, and I'm proud. I wake up happy. I might not be where I wanna be at right now, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna get there as long as I keep doing what I gotta.
Are you,
Not
at peace?
worrying about what makes everybody else happy, I'm worrying about me.
You at peace with yourself?
Yeah, I'm not peace all the way, man.
Yeah, that's.
Let me tell you, I shared with them Sunday, Terry, you probably don't realize this, but when I opened up here, we opened up in January. I don't remember what month it was that when we first walked through, but when I started doing the Friday meditation, and, I determined I'm just gonna leave the door open, and I don't know who's coming. Terry was the first person that walked through the door. I was like, what's going on here? I'm just so thankful for him and for other people, the way they just support the ministry now.
Right.
But to be able to be open like that and just come in.
What's going on? What's up, Doc?
What's going on here?
Yeah, yeah.
But, Kevin, what you said, in this book on chapter 8, on page 18, they say, we know we are not what we believe we are supposed to be, and so we feel false, frustrated, and dishonest. We try to hide ourselves and we pretend to be what we are not. The result is that we feel unauthentic and wear social masks to keep others from noticing this. We are so afraid that somebody else will notice that we are not what we pretend to be. We judge others according to our image of perfection as well, and naturally that they fall short to our own expectations.
That was exactly what was said.
That's exactly what
Well, I do a lot of programs, so I know a lot.
Right.
of things.
Look,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah,
No.
Kevin, that's exactly it, yeah. Yeah, in this book, yeah. It's called a core agreement, yeah.
But take a mask, you gotta be around people you're comfortable around. man.
Yeah, you
You
got
can't take a mask around people that you're not comfortable
We
with.
don't want no fake stuff around us.
Right. fake people, we want people who.
Yeah, but, you know, you got those people, when you do let it come, you be authentic, and they use that as a crutch to hold you. Oh, yeah, he was drug dealer, or he was a drug addict, you know,
Yeah.
well, you know, he ain't nothing. So
Right.
that's like you said, you gotta be careful who you put it out there, because not everybody is always, you know, receptive or want to be judged. They can use it against you, you know?
I'm gonna drop this and then pull a card and we'll close out, but, Brene Brown is a shame and vulnerability researcher. And one of the things that she talks about a lot is authenticity, and shame, and how important it is to tell your shame story to someone who has earned the right to know who you are and your story. And so it's about being careful, being discerning, which we talked about in our last session, being discerning about who you give your story to, you know, no matter what it is that you've been through in your life, no matter what you agree to or not agree to, like the story of your life is sacred and should be shared with people who are gonna hold it in that same kind of sacredness and who are gonna hold space for you, right? So whatever feeling it is that you might be experiencing because of the story that you've, you know, gone through, whatever, those people are gonna be there for you. Those people are gonna let you cry. Those people aren't gonna tell you stop crying. Those people aren't gonna tell you man up. Those people aren't gonna tell you, oh, don't think about it. Those people are gonna hold you and support you as you think about it, as you move through it. Maybe you thought about it a lot on Monday and stop thinking on Tuesday and Wednesday, but your friend there on Thursday for you to come calling back up again and be like, man, I'm still thinking about this, You know what I'm saying? So it's just important that we,
Come on.
you know, have a community of people around us that, you know, hold space for us, that give us the grace, right, to make new agreements, you know? So if we were doing something and we no longer want to do it, that we're around people who let us stop doing it, right? Who don't enable us to do it, who be like, oh, or turn a blind eye when you're harming yourself. And, oh, it's fine, like, you know, it's just, no, we want people around us who are gonna care about us. And one of the last things that I thought was like really dope that I read, this is on page 32, in the second paragraph, and it says, if I love myself, I will express that love in my interactions with you. And then I am being impeccable with the word, because that action will produce a like reaction. If I love you, then you will love me. But if I insult you, you will insult me. If I have gratitude for you, you will have gratitude for me. But if I'm selfish with you, you will be selfish with me. If I use the word to put a spell on you, you also are going to put a spell on me. So it's that same idea of people being mirrors, right? This is how the book opened up. The book opened up with seeing like this author seeing themselves as like a reflection of other people, but other people not seeing themselves as reflections, right? So as we think about our word and, you know, like get this card for our clothing, like think about what it is that you've either, think about what it means for you to be impeccable with your word, and think about how you've grown in that kind of integrity, right? Think about how you kept your word to yourself in the last, you know, umpteen amount of months or weeks that you otherwise may have not, maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and give yourself the flowers. And I'm praying like everybody here has a community of people. I know I'm one of them who will also like, you know, give you your flowers too. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like we make agreements and we don't always know what we agree to, and sometimes we do. But thank God for grace, you know, thank God for grace, thank God for mercy.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, it is what it is. Like it could have been over, like you were saying, like it could have been a wrap. It could have been lights out. Like it wouldn't have been, it's not far-fetched to think that life could end, right? Or that it could be over tomorrow, right? People wake up and
No, but the point is that saying that he survived all of this, why would he do something, you know,
Not work.
it's not working, because you don't went through it. Right.
but that's the thing, it's the process of agreeing that it's
That's being selfish. That's called selfish. So you're not thinking about the ones that love you. Thinking about yourself.
But that's how it affects, but that's how it affects, you know, unfortunately, the twins' mom, my son, had said a twin. Well, their mother just died, she died on July 3rd, and they had a funeral over here, Cotton Funeral Home for her. She was 33 years old. She had a son when she met my
in the car, then she had the twins. For my son, and then she had 3 other kids. 33 years, and she just had a baby that before she died was 4 months old. So she OD, and they said it wasn't suicide. Yeah, but this funeral, it was so amazing because all of the community came out that knew her, you know, and they were, and the minister is I think his name is Minister Ali. And he says, I know, he says, before you, he says, and you know, everybody was like, you know, I know some of you knew Shantae, and some of you didn't even want to talk to her because she's out there, you know, on the street or whatever. But he said, don't make a judgment call. You don't judge anybody because he said, if you open up your closet, you might find some of them, you know, some things about you that we don't like about you, and that shut everybody down that was talking, you know. He said, open up your closet, you know, I'm quite sure you got a lot of stuff in there that you don't want other people to know about. But so don't judge this young woman, you know, that, you know, whatever. And I thought about that, I said, you know what, that's heavy, you know, the mask. The mask.
We gotta, whatever that mask is,
Yeah.
the mask suffocates us and also stops us from being able to have good relationships with other people. There's an affirmation I have on my wall that says, like, I release the mask, that I put on in order to connect authentically with others. I also have something that says, I know that if I understand that if I'm pretending to be something I'm not, that I'm not giving the person an opportunity to create a relationship with who I actually,
Right,
right? And that's unfair.
right.
So like,
Right, you can't, yeah.
if someone wants to be in my life, then let them see me and then make a decision from there, as opposed to me pretending to be what they want me to be in order to, I don't know, evade rejection. And then have this person in my life who wants me for someone else.
Right, that's right, right,
And then you have to accept that for yourself. And then you have to come to the place where you're like, oh my God, like I betrayed myself, right? Like I did something to me, I sinned against myself, right? Sometimes we talk about forgiving other people being the biggest thing. Sometimes forgiving ourselves is like the biggest thing. Like being able to release ourselves from our own chains, release ourselves from our own agreements, you know what I mean?
right.
And the cards that I pulled, which I found were really interesting, these all are like African goddesses. So they're like in the African pantheon. They're also well researched. So if you look up this name, you could probably also find information. But this is Sarah Lakali, and she stands for divine lineage. And like the affirmation card that came out with that was we inhale and exhale.
Wow.
So I'm gonna read what that card means, and then, you know, we'll go through. So this card, the temple of the card or the suit of the ancestors, so pretty much like people who come before us. And the element is water, so like water, fire, air, stuff like that, right? Water meaning it's about the emotions or like that space of ours that seems really dark and sometimes we feel a little bit. So great ancestress Sarah Lakali, meaning Sarah the Black, was an Egyptian prophetess and patron saint of the Romani people. Oral history says that Saint Sarah had the highest divine lineage. Here's her guidance. Your ancestors protect the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is you. Divine ones walk beside and within you. The embodiment is your ancestors want to remind you that you are not alone. They are rooting for you. They ask you to honor your spirit guides and call upon the power of the divine. Create or nourish your ancestral altar or shrine. Unbury your ancestors. Speak their names. Your divine lineage ancestors may be blood related or culturally or spiritually connected. Declaration, I am my sister or my brother, and my sister and my brother is me. And again, the card that came out like that, these are affirmation cards by an artist named Pink Lomi. She's on Instagram, she's really dope. I think she's based in Atlanta. And again, it says we inhale and exhale. The next card I pulled was Urgently Dantor, which she is from the Haitian pantheon. And it was upside down, which just means that, you know, it's really important. It's important message. And what she stands for is etheric force. And I'm gonna read what this says, and then I'll let you know what the affirmation card says. The temple is lovers, which has to do with self-love, love for other people, relationships. The element is fire, which has to do with alcohol, has to do with transmutation. And she says, Earthly Dantor fought elbow to elbow with her people during the Haitian Revolution. to protect mothers and children. She represents the healing of the dark mother. We were talking about mothering and all these kinds of things earlier in our session. Earthly dance for guidance. If it isn't wholehearted love, release it. Remember your worth. Embodiment. The energy cords binding you and someone you no longer wish to be attached to, or something you no longer wish to be attached to, are strong. You must be willing to let it go. This goes hand in hand with what we were talking about with this agreement.
Right.
Close your eyes and see divine cords of God or goddesses, loving light separating you and dissolving the cords between you. You are both whole and healed, whatever those things are. Just as you shower to cleanse physical grime, there's also grime in the form of energetic cords, also called karmic ribbons, emotional cords, or etheric cords. Spiritual maintenance is required. Goddess declaration, I am worthy, compassionate, and whole. And it's so funny, the affirmation card is, I am endlessly evolving. So that's that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Jeffrey, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
Evening.
Okay.
That was
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it was great.
Really, thank you for your
Yeah.
participation. We will, we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week, and then we have a week off, and we'll be back next week.
Okay.
So,
Second.
right, we're off the
Yeah, I'm
Tuesday
just doing
after,
stuff like that.
Tuesday after Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, no, that was it.
That's all right. So we're, again, gratitude to all of you. This, study group, bless you, Brother Jones.
Blessing me.
Thank you. Yes. We need another bag, probably for that other garbage. And I just appreciate all the support I've been getting. And we've been getting at the center, because the center is ours. It's here for us. And I just appreciate it.
Oh, you're, Sandra, did you take the, do you want me to take the curtain?
No, you haven't missed a study. I mean,
Am I supposed to take the curtain? Am I taking the curtain tonight?
we can, I don't know.
Oh, my leg, child.
Hmm?
Yeah,
Thank everyone for joining us tonight, for just being with us here. For being with us. We appreciate you supporting Triumph Life. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 7 to 8 p.m. for our book study. Have a great week.